The Life of Madame Curie. Episode 1. A Curious Mind is Born. Marie Curie was born on November 7th, 1867, in Warsaw, Poland. Her birth name was Maria Sklodowska. She was the youngest of 5 children. Her family was poor, but they loved to learn. Her father was a teacher in mathematics and physics. He shared his love of science with his children, and young Maria listened carefully. She became curious about the world at a very young age. Life in Poland was not easy. At that time, Poland was under Russian control. Many Polish people were not allowed to speak their language in schools or celebrate their culture freely. Maria's family stayed strong and proud of their heritage. They also believed that education was the best way to make a better life. Maria studied hard, even though it was difficult for girls to go to good schools. Maria's mother died from illness when Maria was just 10 years old. Her sister also passed away before that. These losses were very painful, but Maria kept going. She found comfort in books and science. She wanted to understand how things worked. She dreamed of one day becoming a scientist. After finishing school, Maria wanted to continue her education, but women in Poland could not attend university at the time. So, she joined the Flying University, a secret school that helped young Polish people learn in private homes. She studied science, math, and literature there. It was not official, but it gave her hope. Maria made a plan with her older sister, Bronia. Bronia would go to Paris first and study medicine. Maria would stay and work as a tutor to support her. Later, Maria would go to Paris, and Bronia would help her in return. This plan required a lot of patience and sacrifice, but Maria agreed. She worked for many years to save money. She taught children in the countryside, often in cold and lonely places, but she never gave up her dream. In 1891, Marie finally moved to Paris. She was 21 years old. She changed her name to Marie, the French version of Maria. Life in Paris was hard at first. She didn't have much money, and she lived in a small room with little heat. She often ate very little. But she was finally studying at the Sorbonne, one of the best universities in France. She studied physics and mathematics. At the university, there were very few women. Sometimes she felt alone and unsure, but she loved science, and that gave her strength. She spent long hours in the lab and the library. Slowly, her professors started to notice her talent and hard work. One of the people who heard about Marie's brilliance was a man named Pierre Curie. He was a scientist too, working in physics. He met Marie in 1894, and they became close. They shared many ideas and respected each other's minds. A year later, they got married. Marie and Pierre Curie began to work together. They were not rich, and they did not work in a fancy laboratory, but they were both passionate about science. They focused their research on new, unknown elements. At that time, a scientist named Henri Becquerel had discovered that uranium gives off energy. Marie became very interested in this strange kind of energy. She called it radioactivity. This was only the beginning of Marie Curie's journey. Her curiosity and hard work were already changing the world. In the next episodes, we will see how she discovered 2 new elements, won Nobel Prizes, and became a role model for scientists around the globe. Episode 2: Discoveries that Changed the World. After marrying Pierre Curie in 1895, Marie Curie began a new chapter in her life. Together, they worked as a team, sharing not only their home, but also their passion for science. They both believed in hard work, curiosity, and the search for truth. They did not care about fame or money. Their dream was to discover something new for the world. Marie became interested in a strange energy from uranium, which was earlier discovered by scientist Henri Becquerel. She wanted to understand why certain materials gave off invisible rays. These rays could pass through solid objects and even affect photographic plates. No one understood how or why this happened, but Marie was determined to find out. She began testing many materials, including a black rock called pitchblende. Pitchblende came from mines and was very heavy and dark. Scientists knew it had uranium, but Marie believed something else was inside, something even more powerful. She and Pierre started working with pitchblende, breaking it down and studying every part. Their laboratory was cold and small, and the equipment was very basic. Still, they worked for hours, often from early morning to late at night. In 1898, the Curies made a big announcement. They had discovered a new element and named it polonium, after Marie's home country, Poland. It was a way to honor the place she loved, even though it was not free at the time. But the discoveries didn't stop there. Later that same year, they found another new element, which they called radium. Radium was even more radioactive than polonium. These 2 elements were unknown to the world before Marie and Pierre Curie. The discoveries were amazing, and many scientists around the world started paying attention. To prove these elements really existed, Marie and Pierre needed to isolate them from the pitchblende. This was very difficult. They had to process thousands of kilograms of rock to get a very small amount of pure radium. The process took many years and caused serious health problems. They didn't know the dangers of working with radioactive materials. At the time, there were no safety rules or protective clothing. Marie often stirred boiling mixtures with her bare hands. Both she and Pierre felt tired, weak, and often sick. They had no idea that radioactivity could damage the body. But despite the risks, they never stopped. They believed their work could help the world. Their efforts were finally recognized in 1903. That year, Marie and Pierre Curie, along with Henri Becquerel, received the Nobel Prize in Physics. Marie became the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize. It was a historic moment. She was happy, but also careful. She did not enjoy the attention. She was shy and preferred quiet study over fame. Still, the award helped her continue her research and support her family. Marie and Pierre had a daughter named Irene. They loved her deeply, but were always busy in their lab. As Irene grew older, she also became interested in science. Marie taught her daughter that women could be scientists too. In 1906, tragedy hit. Pierre Curie died in a street accident. A horse-drawn carriage hit him, and he died instantly. Marie was heartbroken. She had lost her partner in life in science. But even in great pain, she found strength to continue. She took her place at the university and became the first woman to teach there. Many people were surprised to see a woman professor, but Marie didn't let anything stop her. She focused on her work and continued studying radium. She believed it could help cure diseases, especially cancer. She wanted to make radium available to hospitals and doctors. She believed science should help people live better lives. Marie Curie's discoveries of polonium and radium were not only important for physics and chemistry, they changed medicine too. Her work opened the door to radiation therapy, which is still used today to treat cancer. She became a pioneer, someone who walked into the unknown so that others could follow. In the next episode, we'll see how Marie Curie continued her work during war, trained nurses, and won her second Nobel Prize. Episode 3: Science in the Time of War. After the tragic death of Pierre Curie in 1906, Marie Curie faced deep sadness. She had lost her husband, her best friend, and her scientific partner. But even in grief, she made a powerful decision. She would continue their research alone. She took Pierre's position at the University of Paris, becoming the first woman to teach there. Many students were surprised to see a female professor, but she proved herself through knowledge, passion, and quiet strength. Marie Curie focused all her energy on science. She continued working with radium and polonium, learning more about their properties. Her goal was not to make money or gain fame, but to use her discoveries to help humanity. She believed science should serve people. That idea became more important than ever in 1914, when World War I began. As the war spread across Europe, millions of soldiers were injured, medical services were overwhelmed, and many doctors lacked the tools they needed. Marie Curie saw a new way to help. She realized that X-ray machines could find bullets, broken bones, and wounds inside the body. But many hospitals didn't have them. So she took action. Using her scientific knowledge and organizational skills, Marie Curie created mobile X-ray units. These machines were placed in small vehicles, like vans, and sent to battlefields. She trained herself to operate them and even learned how to drive. With her daughter Irene, now a teenager, she traveled to the front lines to help doctors examine injured soldiers. The mobile X-ray machines saved thousands of lives. Marie Curie didn't stop there. She also trained over 150 women to operate X-ray equipment. These women were not doctors or scientists. Many had never worked in hospitals before. But under Marie's guidance, they became skilled and brave helpers during the war. Marie believed that women had the power to do anything if given the chance. Even though she was working in dangerous areas, Marie Curie refused any special protection. She believed she should face the same risks as the soldiers and medics. She often worked without rest, under difficult conditions. Still, she never lost her focus or her sense of purpose. Her courage during the war added another chapter to her already amazing life. After the war, Marie Curie returned to her laboratory. The world had changed, and science had a new role in society. People began to understand how important her discoveries were. In 1921, she traveled to the United States to raise money for her research. People admired her strength and intelligence. American women's groups helped raise funds so Marie could buy a single gram of radium, a very expensive and rare element, for her experiments. In 1922, she was given a seat at the French Academy of Medicine. She had finally received the respect she deserved. But more than awards or titles, she cared about progress. She opened the Radium Institute in Paris, which became a major center for research and medical treatment. It trained doctors, scientists, and nurses in how to use radiation safely and effectively. Her daughter Irene also joined the institute. Just like her mother, Irene was strong, smart, and passionate about science. Marie was proud to see her daughter follow in her footsteps. Together, they worked on projects that would help cure diseases and improve human health. By this time, Marie Curie had become a symbol of scientific dedication. She had already won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903, but in 1911 she received a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for her work on radium and polonium. This made her the first person in history to win Nobel Prizes in two different sciences. Even with all the success, Marie remained humble. She lived simply, worked hard, and never let fame change her. She believed science was not about glory, it was about service. She once said, "I was taught that the way of progress was neither swift nor easy." Her life proved that truth again and again. In the next and final episode, we'll explore the last years of Marie Curie's life, her legacy, and how her work continues to shape the world today. Episode 4: A Legacy That Shines Forever. In the final years of her life, Marie Curie continued to work with the same dedication and passion she had shown as a young scientist. Even though her body was growing weaker, her mind remained sharp. The long exposure to radiation over many years had begun to affect her health. At the time, scientists didn't fully understand the dangers of radioactive elements. Marie often handled radium with her bare hands and carried test tubes in her pockets. Today, we know how risky that was. But back then, safety rules did not exist. Despite her illness, she refused to slow down. She continued to teach, write, and guide young scientists at the Radium Institute. Many students from different countries came to learn from her. Marie welcomed them all. She believed science should not have borders. She dreamed of a world where knowledge was shared freely and peacefully. One of her proudest achievements was working side by side with her daughter, Irene Curie. Irene had become a brilliant scientist herself. She married Frédéric Joliot, another researcher at the Institute. Together, they would continue Marie's work and even win a Nobel Prize of their own later in life. Marie often said that the greatest success was not personal awards, but helping others grow and continue the mission. During her later years, Marie Curie traveled to many countries to speak about science and promote research. She was invited to scientific conferences and meetings around the world. People admired her not just for her intelligence, but also for her humility and simple lifestyle. She did not care for luxury or fame. She once turned down a medal because she felt the money should be used to buy equipment for her lab instead. Marie also worked to support other women in science. She knew how difficult it was to be taken seriously as a female scientist. Throughout her life, she had faced prejudice and doubt, but she never gave up. Her achievements opened the door for many other women who wanted to follow the same path. She believed that women had the same ability as men to contribute to science if only they were given the opportunity. In 1934, Marie Curie passed away from aplastic anemia, a disease likely caused by her long exposure to radiation. She was 66 years old. Her death was a great loss for the scientific world, but her impact did not end there. Marie Curie left behind a powerful legacy. Her discoveries in radioactivity changed science forever. They helped doctors understand cancer and develop radiation therapy. Her research led to new technologies in medicine, energy, and physics. The Radium Institute, which she founded, continued to grow and make important contributions to science and healthcare. In 1995, Marie Curie received one of the highest honors in France. Her body was moved to the Pantheon in Paris, a place where the most important French heroes are remembered. She was the first woman to be honored in this way for her own achievements. Her husband, Pierre, was moved with her, showing their lifelong connection. Today, many schools, hospitals, and scientific centers around the world carry the name Curie in her honor. Her story is taught in classrooms as an example of what passion, hard work, and courage can achieve. She inspired not only scientists, but also people who believe in justice, education, and equal rights. Marie Curie once said, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood." These words still guide people today. In a world full of challenges, her message is clear. With knowledge, we can find hope and create a better future. Madame Curie's life was not easy. She faced poverty, discrimination, loss, and illness. But she also achieved greatness, opened minds, and changed the world. Her light still shines through the generations of scientists, doctors, and students who follow in her footsteps. Her legacy reminds us that true strength is not about power or fame. It is about using what you have to help others and never giving up on what you believe in. Marie Curie will always be remembered as a true pioneer, a woman who turned curiosity into discovery and discovery into hope.